Maybe you've been there before. You had everything lined up for an amazing artistic endeavor or some sort of creative experience, just to have everything completely blow up at the last minute. Well, that happened to me this week on my latest beauty hunting adventure. You'll want to stick around to the end because I'm going to show you that how you respond in those moments can make or break your creativity. Hello, creative soul. Welcome to the Beauty Hunters Podcast. Are you feeling stuck? Not having enough time, money, or energy to create? Do you want to make a difference in this world with your creativity, but you feel exhausted by life's responsibilities and void of inspiration? You are not alone.
We are your hosts, Jonathan and Michelle Rose, fellow creative souls who understand the struggle. We once lived a life consumed by the daily grind, leaving us feeling empty and dead inside. And that all changed when we discovered the mindsets and skills that allowed us to stay in creative flow and infuse everyday life with creative passion. We are here with strategies and inspiration to help you fill your daily life with vibrant creativity.
If you are ready to thrive and take your creativity to the next level, then grab your coffee, tune in, and let's create a more beautiful world together. Well, hello there, all of you hunters of beauty and creative souls. I'm so glad that you have joined me today. I want to just take a moment and share some of my gratitude for the inspiring reviews that you guys keep leaving us. Like this one from Looney Oil Lady. She says, "Ignite your creative spark. The Beauty Hunters podcast is a game changer for anyone navigating the often changing landscape of creative journey. As a fellow creative soul, I have faced those moments of feeling lost, stuck, and drained of inspiration. This podcast not only resonates with those struggles, but provides tangible solutions." Well, thank you, Looney Oil Lady. That is certainly our goal. And if you guys have not left a review yet, please take a moment to head over to Apple Podcast and leave one. Your review tells the algorithm to show our podcast to more creatives. You just never know who might need that lifeline, and you never know, we might just feature your review on an episode. Well, this week, I want to keep things pretty lighthearted because I had a very interesting and fantastic beauty hunting experience this past week. Now, it started with the fact that I'm doing the Artist Way book right now. And if you don't know what the Artist Way is by Julia Cameron, just look it up. You can thank me later, and we'll unpack that in some future episodes. But one of the things that Julia prescribes in her plan for creative recovery in the Artist Way is to take yourself on artist dates. I had this particular idea for an artist date that I had been agonizing over for like 2 weeks. Now, admittedly, the first week was just in my head, but the idea just kept growing and gnawing at me. And I kept thinking this was a great idea. Just the kind of inspiration that I need for my own musical journey. Man, but I just hope it's not too much money. Like, these are the things going on in my head as I'm trying to talk myself into taking myself on a little bit more of an extravagant artist date. So a week into all of the gnawing, I mentioned it to Michelle. I said, "Hey, have you seen those billboards for the Cirque du Soleil show called Song Blazers? I think it looks interesting. I think it might make a good artist date for me during this Artist Way thing." Well, she didn't seem resistant. Maybe I should do it, I thought. So I looked it up. Oh man, $90 for a ticket. It's too much just for one night. I can't spend that much on myself. This is the things going on in my head. Me, of all people, telling you guys to invest lavishly in your creativity. I had a hard time buying a ticket for myself for an artist date. But the idea would not leave me alone. I just kept thinking that I was supposed to do this. So I ran it across the partner that I'm doing the Artist Way with, and he agreed. My creativity was worth it. Why was I having such a hard time putting that value on this area? I wrestled and I looked at the tickets several times over the next few days, and I eventually stopped browsing the seat choices, and seat number E15 on the orchestra level ended up in my shopping cart, and I checked out. It was booked. I was going to the Tennessee Performing Arts Center to watch Song Blazers by Cirque du Soleil. And why am I spending so much time describing this process to you guys? Well, maybe you've been there. Maybe you've wrestled with an idea that seemed too expensive or too extravagant or too, well, something, right? But you finally jump in. You do it. Man, it feels like a win, and then the anticipation and the excitement starts to build. You're finally doing it. Man, have you ever been there? Well, that was me on Sunday night, standing in the lobby at TPAC, full of anticipation for the creative luxury I had lavished upon myself, and finally I was going to enjoy this. And after 15 or 20 minutes, the lady comes on the intercom, and surely she's about to give us all instructions for an orderly entrance into the auditorium and to take our seats, and she begins, "Ladies and gentlemen, we regret to inform you that due to unforeseen circumstances, tonight's performance of Song Blazers has been canceled." And my heart sunk as my anger rose. And so I just kind of stood there in stunned silence with everybody else as this collective gasp just went across the lobby. And I finally brought myself to the reality that, yeah, this is really happening. So I started walking back to my truck feeling pretty defeated. And in that short walk, I probably went through all the stages of grief, starting with denial. This cannot be right. This has got to be a mistake. They're going to correct this. This is a cruel joke. I mean, that lady that on the intercom, she's going to get so fired for this prank she's pulling on us. And then anger. Oh, I'm so mad at myself for putting this off. I waited to the last night of the show. There's no more makeup dates. This is it. I lost my chance. I blew it. Oh, I'm such an idiot. And then bargaining. Maybe I can catch Song Blazers at the next town. You know, we travel so much, surely I can make this up somewhere. And then the depression. It's hopeless. I'm just going to have to miss whatever piece of inspiration I was meant to have tonight. And then finally, after sitting in my truck for a few minutes, unwilling to give up on the evening and drive the hour and a half home without something to show for it, acceptance. And if I can't have Song Blazers, well, dang it, I'm here to beauty hunt and I'm here to have an adventure. I'm going to find something else to do tonight. So what got me through that process from so flippin' angry to finally acceptance in like 10 minutes, right? How did I go from totally deflated and angry to let's have a beauty hunting adventure fast enough to salvage the evening? What are the practices and the mindsets that afforded me that level of flexibility and adaptability? Well, that was a little over a week ago, so I've had some time to reflect. I've had some time to unpack and find some takeaways, mine for some of the lessons that evening taught me. And I want to make several points with the hopes of equipping all of you with more creative resilience when life throws curveballs at you. So the first thing that allowed me to quickly adapt is that this whole night was in service to a higher value. I had a true north, a higher purpose driving my actions and my motivations. I had a true north. And it was never about the show for the show's sake or for just being entertained. It was about being fully present and allowing myself the luxury of uninterrupted and focused time to be engaged in curiosity and wonder. And those things are not dependent on my external circumstances. They are choices that I have made and I have practiced long before the show was canceled. And that practice allowed me to feel the disappointment authentically and deeply, but briefly, and then to move on from there and to adapt. And the second point I want to make is that I had access to those skills needed to salvage the night because I had practiced them. Skills like remaining in a focused state of attention because I can live without my phone because I practice living without my phone. Being able to feel and name my emotions quickly so that I don't get stuck in them. And then I can turn on my curiosity because I've dealt with the emotions. It allowed me the ability to wonder what other options might be available to me. The point I want to make is a really worn out cliche, but it's so true and it's actually solid wisdom. You know, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. And you need to take your creative practice seriously. And I want to encourage you guys to practice like a professional. Here's what I mean by that. Think about some of the most highly regarded professions as far as a skill level or a knowledge base that are required. You think of things like doctors and lawyers. Well, they practice, right? Doctors have a medical practice. Lawyers have a law practice. I'm just waiting for the day we have like a plumbing practice or a carpentry practice or an auto mechanic practice, because you've probably been there. You get the feeling your auto mechanic is practicing on your car sometimes, but I digress. Why shouldn't it be any less true that you have a creative practice? The things you're doing as a creative, the kind of things we're synthesizing into our art that take not only just being present and focused in our craft and our skill, but present with our emotions, working on ourselves enough to have an emotional EQ and being able to synthesize that into some sort of connection that goes out into the world and people go, oh, that's beautiful. And they're filled with awe and wonder. That's the job of artists and creatives. Like that is something we should take seriously. It takes a lot of high level skills to do that. You should have a creative practice just like a doctor has a medical practice or a lawyer has a law practice. And it's that kind of intention on my creative practice that gave me the skills to salvage that night and to be fully present and to fully feel my emotions. The same pathway that allowed me to enjoy that night are the same practices that allow me to be successful in my creative pursuits. And I keep alluding to the fact that I went and I enjoyed the night. So you might be wondering, well, how did the rest of my night go? Well, let me tell you about it. I'm sitting there in my truck. So I pull up Eventbrite because, hey, I'm in Nashville. Surely there's something going on tonight in Nashville. So I'm just looking for live music venues and other concerts and things that just might be available and going on tonight. And I ran across this thing called Analog Soul. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds interesting, because I've often called myself an analog soul, because my soul flourishes when I'm in an analog state and disconnected from technology, right? So I saw this thing called Analog Soul and I was like, all right, I'm in. It was at the Hutton Hotel. So I go to the Hutton Hotel, and of course, shows like that don't start till later in the night. The TPAC show is canceled at 5:00. And so I've got like 2 hours to kill. So I go into the restaurant at the Hutton Hotel. And I'm like, I'm just going to have a nice dinner without my phone, which was left in the truck. And I'm just going to be present and enjoy myself. And so I open up the menu at a 4-star hotel. And I'm like looking at the prices of the food, and I keep trying to talk myself into, the lower price stuff. Maybe I'll just get a salad or just something that's not super expensive. But then I said to myself, you know what? I've already committed $90 to a ticket that's going to get refunded. Why not just keep that budget rolling and enjoy the rest of the night? And so I'm like, well, by golly, I'm going to have the ribeye. So I treated myself to a $62 ribeye, and it was delightful, cooked perfectly. It was served in slices on a bed of roasted succotash, and the whole thing was just seasoned to perfection, and it was so scrumptious, and I was fully present and aware of the moment and enjoying every bite of that ribeye. And when I was done enjoying that, I moseyed on up to their music venue. Turns out the venue is called Analog, and this was their soul night, which is funny and great because, I'm pretty diverse musically, but soul music is not something I often pick for myself. And so just the evening picked this thing for me. And I had a great time listening to some really moving soul music at Analog Soul and just fully enjoyed the night. And that's what happened on my latest beauty hunting adventure. And those are the lessons that I learned and I want to take away and just share with you guys. What are the takeaways? Remember, make all of your creative pursuits subservient to your true north, and practice like a professional. And if you need some help with that, go back and listen to episode 28 through 31, where we do a deep dive into finding your true north. And if you need support on your creative journey, you can find inspiration on our private Facebook group. And you can also reach out to Michelle and I. We do offer creative coaching sessions, and you can email us at thebeautyhunterspodcast@gmail.com. All those links will be in the show notes. But we're here for you guys. We want to encourage you to take your creativity seriously, practice like a professional, and keep on the hunt for more beauty. The world needs your art. You guys take care. Thank you for joining us on the Beauty Hunters podcast. I hope this episode has encouraged you. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with other creatives in your life? And please leave a quick written review on Apple Podcast. Your reviews keep us inspired and help more people discover the podcast. Okay, time for us to hit the road. We're off to our next art show. We'll meet you back on Monday for another episode.
Until our next encounter, always remember that your creativity will make the world a more beautiful place.